So I'm coming to you from our back garden. This is Molly's assortment of baby plants that she's planted, and our resurrection pansies. These pansies came to us at Halloween and then overwintered and came up again at Easter. And I'm sitting in my garden because two things. I've been happy to see people's garden pictures and enjoy everybody's new growth and see the neighborhood and how people are starting to grow new things in their home plots. And also because we are in the 3 days before the Feast of the Ascension, which is known to the church as the Rogation Days. And the Rogation Days are historically a time for the church to thank God for the abundance of growing things and for all the crops that are either just coming up, like these little baby plants, or are just being laid into the ground if you're living somewhere a little bit further north. So on my Facebook feed, I'm seeing a long chain of all the people that I knew back north who are starting to put their gardens in right now. And then I'm also seeing the people here whose gardens are starting to come up. And you can see we have a few little tomato plants. We have a mystery squash that came out of our compost bin. And we have this brave pepper that keeps trying and keeps getting knocked over by squirrels. And in our little garden, we have a limited amount of space, so we can't do too much growing of vegetables and flowers. But what we do, we're really grateful to God for, and it helps us to remember that we're part of God's garden. And these Rogation Days also lead us up to the Feast of the Ascension, which we celebrate on Thursday, May 21st, and which is the time that Jesus gives kind of the final pep talk to the disciples right before he ascends into heaven. And then he tells them to go into all the world and preach the gospel. And going into all the world and preaching the gospel means participating and taking on Jesus Christ's work of renewing the whole creation. So our Rogation Days are really ways of us beginning to come to awareness that we are part of God's creation and that we are part of helping to grow the new thing that God is doing. And this is particularly important for St. Luke's because right now in our church community, we are starting some new things. We have a committee that is working on all the practicalities and safety measures and questions of regulations and also theology related to our regathering in the phases that the bishop has laid out. And we're also having conversations with ministry leaders about what their ministry looks like now in the time that we are in. Because people aren't stopping proclaiming the gospel of Jesus. They're not talking about pulling back and going back. They're talking about going forward, going into all the world and preaching the gospel. And as we do that, we are really replanting our church. And we need everyone to do that. So I hope that over the next few weeks, as you hear from people on your committees and you learn about the things that are happening, that you will start to re-engage with St. Luke's, even if you can't be present physically, that you will commit yourself to doing the work of Jesus Christ in the world, the work that we are given to do. Jesus said he would never leave us orphaned, and yet we are here, and Jesus has ascended. So we are the ones that will carry on the work. So as we replant our church, may it grow and flourish as these little seedlings are growing and flourishing in our little garden at home. Blessings on you on this Feast of Ascension, and also as we continue into Pentecost and into the season of summer where everything will grow anew. Blessings on you and your family and your gardens. Amen.